All right, we are definitely live
All right.
according to the Zoom. So, hey, everybody, welcome to a very rare yet very special episode of Insufferable Bastards. My name is Joe Grillo for the purposes of this broadcast, and I'm joined in this late night live stream by Mr. Matt Maisto from Mondo Creepy. Hello, Matt.
Greetings and salutations.
So, if you don't know what Mondo Creepy is, it's a horror hostess show. Matt writes the show on YouTube. He writes the show, he edits the show, he directs the show, he's a co-founder of the show, and I suggest everybody, god damn it, go out, search Mondo Creepy.
Thank you. We're also now on OSI 74.
I was gonna say, yeah, and I downloaded so you can get that on the Roku app if you got a Roku.
Next episode, well, episode 2 will be going up next week.
So, in the history of Mondo Creepy now, what are we up to? 4 episodes? 3 episodes?
We just did the 5th episode was the brand new one that happened last month.
And so now you can find these episodes in addition to YouTube. They're going on. What's the name of the channel again?
OSI 74 on Roku.
I was going through it. I downloaded it onto my Roku, and just like all the weirdness on that channel is awesome.
That's what I love about it. It's just weirdness. It's kind of what local TV. Well, it's sort of got that local TV feeling from about 35 years ago that we grew up with. It also has like a sort of public access vibe to it that I also like. But like it's just a bunch of really creative shows by a bunch of really interesting creative content makers.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that you're on there, you and Lilith. So congratulations. And Lilith is the host, not her. Jennifer is her name in real life, the actress, and she plays the character Lilith Von Bloodworth. And she's the horror hostess, and they go through and screen these movies, and there's always like a live chat going on. It's good stuff. You people should check it out.
The best way I could describe it, it's kind of like if Elvira meets USA Up All Night.
Exactly. Yeah, it is definitely good stuff. And speaking of live streams, real quickly, Matt, I know we're going to talk about Halloween Ends because Matt literally just finished. We did an episode last night, Brian and I, of this podcast with the Pint of Pop Culture podcast that I posted last night, and then the audio went up today.
I noticed. I'm going to watch that
talking about.
I didn't want to spoil my experience of Halloween Ends before I saw that.
Yeah, no, but I'm just interested in talking about it with you because I think it's definitely a movie that provokes a discussion. But I just want to throw out there because I had mentioned live streaming and Mondo Creepy earlier this evening while you were watching Halloween Ends. One of the channels on YouTube of the Stuttering John Dabbler verse called "Why Do I Podcast?" I don't know why I said cast like that, but Why Do I Podcast? And that
show has come up on my feed. I'm aware of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I highly recommend it. The dude that does it is awesome. Him and this other podcast, I want to say it was called Dabblers Unanimous. I think it was called Dabblers Unanimous.
I think I've seen that one too pop up on my feed. Now that the algorithm changes the moment you start doing a couple of Stuttering John podcasts. And you go down that rabbit hole.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be running guns or strapping a bomb on myself in another week or two based on all the content I'm getting somehow related in YouTube's mind to Stuttering John. But, okay, so they teamed up and they live streamed with a chat the movie One Too Many, written by Stuttering and starring Stuttering John.
Ooh.
So it was, I mean, that movie, it's every bad as you'd think it would be. But it's particularly bad because there's like a scene where, Stuttering John, I mean, he looks good. It's the younger
How
Stuttering
old is
John. It came out in 2008. It's got a cameo.
Even know about this.
It's got a cameo by Mark Cuban, right? This was like he was on the Stuttering or the Tonight Show in those days. So you got Mark Cuban in there in a random thing. It's surprisingly and weirdly dirty, but it's like it is Stuttering John. It's his id. It's terrible. It's this low budget, awful movie, but I just had so much fun watching it. So I want to thank those guys. And I know you'd be into that too.
Oh, I'm totally into it. Let me ask you, better or worse than a Light and Dark production?
It's okay. So Light and Dark is an ultra low budget film production company. Matt and I are acquaintances of the writer director of all those, Glenn Baisley. And I got to say, it's about that level. It's about that level. Stuttering John is in every scene in this movie. You know how like Stuttering John, if you ever watched this podcast, he laughs at his own jokes.
Yeah.
Right? That's his big thing. And they're not funny. I mean, we all do it, but he like has like he just, I guess because he's got OCD. in the movie, in the script, he'll say a joke and then he'll repeat it to a character and like draw attention to it. So it's like the script version of laughing at your own joke. And it's like, you know, it's below Jackie one-liner level of comedy. So, I mean, I highly recommend people seek it out.
At least there's a charm when Jackie Martling laughs at his own jokes.
Yeah, this is
like just... somehow it always made it funnier to me when Jackie laughed at his own joke.
And I don't mean to make this about Stuttering John's one too many, but I was overcome with emotion watching it because it's just so bizarre because the movie, there's no structure to it, right? So the whole thing is John is a character named Tom who just wants to have him and his girlfriend want to have a threesome. They want to invite another woman into the bedroom. So that's the plot, right?
I give him points for not naming the main character John.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it is John. Like, it's so ridiculous. And it's like he got all his friends from Tony and Tina's wedding to be in it. But he eventually...
I forgot he did that.
Yeah, it has a very... I saw that, too. I remember going... I urinated next to Stuttering John and somewhere in New York City.
My parents went to that.
It was at a former church. It was like one of those productions, off-Broadway things. But he eventually gets the threesome, and I mean, it's terribly filmed. It's what you would expect. It's Fairview Falls level. It's that low budget. I mean, maybe I guess it was a $500,000 movie from what they were saying in the chat. And I don't doubt anything dabblers say because they are on point with everything. So, but then, and I'm out of breath. Like, he has the threesome, and you think like that's going to be the climax of the movie, right? I mean, not literally, or something. But then it goes on for like another 45 minutes. It's just so meandering. There's no third act per se.
Kind of like Halloween Ends.
Yeah, it is true in that way. So, all right. So anyway, that was one too many. That's been my Saturday night. That's what kind of life I have. But all right. So, like I said, we talked about Halloween Ends last night. Matt, you just got through with watching Halloween Ends. What the hell is your impression of the last Halloween movie?
It's first and foremost, it's a movie that didn't know what it wanted to be. It feels like there's this movie going on about a kid going bad, and then they just tacked on some Halloween shit.
I had said last night, it almost felt like there was a script going around about this young man who accidentally kills a child and how that affects him, and maybe he becomes a slasher of some kind. Like, and then somebody got a hold of that script and they needed to do a third Halloween. They're like, hey, wait a second. What if we take this script and marry it to our Halloween Ends script? And hey, we got a movie. Because it does feel like there are literally different scripts at work.
There are also moments and I don't know why, it felt like somebody said, all right, let's take Twin Peaks and turn it into a slasher film.
And that's exactly what Spears said last night too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he had said that. He goes, yeah, the whole way it wanders around the town, you get to know all these different characters, which is just, of course, never been in any other Halloween movie. But was there anything that and this is spoiler galore, so don't feel free to, don't hold back. What is there anything you liked about it? Are there any positives you can say about this movie?
No. I honestly wish it's not that it was terrible, but there's so many things that linger. Like, why would this kid ever stay in this town to begin with? And secondly, of all the groups that you could have to bully somebody, the marching band, we're supposed to be scared of the thugs in the marching band.
Let me try to see if this clip will play. It might not work from Zoom to YouTube. I have a feeling this might not work, but this is a clip of the aforementioned marching band.
We're seniors, okay? We've been practicing for a show the whole year, loading up for tonight's game, and we're in the fucking marching band.
That's a line. Okay. So
I hope that's a Danny McBride troll.
Okay,
it has to be, right? It has
that was one of the questions we were running around in our heads last night, and the headline of the review for this movie in the Hollywood Reporter was, is David Gordon, whatever his name is, Green? David Gordon Green?
David Gordon Green.
Is he trolling us? Is this movie just a giant troll? Or is it like just a big mistake? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think the whole movie is an entire troll, but I think that he said every once in a while, just to make sure people were paying attention, he's like, I'm going to fuck with him right now.
And do you think it's worse than Halloween Kills? Like, how does it rank?
Yes, it is worse than Halloween Kills. The reason it's worse than Halloween Kills is because at least Halloween Kills gives you a Halloween movie. It's pure Michael Myers. From beginning to end, it's about nothing but Michael Myers. This is not that. Like I said, this is a movie with some Halloween stuff tacked on.
And what about the whole, I mean, I guess if we were to go through the plot real quick, I mean, the movie opens, you meet this teenage character, I guess, or late high school, right, or, a male about that age. He's babysitting. He accidentally kills the kid he's babysitting.
Which was interesting. I thought it was an interesting choice to start the movie with. And it had my attention.
Absolutely. So the kid's parents come home, and then it cuts ahead, and then we get to know this kid, I guess, is like working in a scrapyard, and he's sort of a pariah in town because of what he did by accident.
But he doesn't leave the town.
He stays there. Yeah,
he stays there.
Roots planted deeply. And eventually, like, he hooks up with Laurie Strode's granddaughter. Laurie Strode has also not left the town. She has put her roots deeper in Haddonfield. And so there's a love story that takes place to some extent between Corey and the granddaughter. Did that just strike you as weird? Did you respect any of that? I mean, I thought the performances were good. I thought all the performances were pretty good except for the marching band kids. But what are your thoughts on that?
They figured out what that relationship was going to be. I think it would have been a lot more interesting if he had corrupted her throughout the course of the movie. And at the end, they're both sort of in like a natural born killers type of relationship with Michael Myers kind of looming in the background, which would have been far more interesting. But I think they kind of chickened out. It seemed like they were going there because at one point she says, "Yeah, let's burn it down." She agrees with him. Let's burn it down together. I'm like, okay. They're about to go crazy here. And then that never happens. And I know the exact scene you're talking about. You got Corey, who I am now calling Roy from that Friday the 13th. What was it? Part 3 that has Roy with the blue mask. Is that that right? I think that's part 3. So, I mean, Corey is kind of, because eventually, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but eventually Roy, he's kind of becoming the new Michael Myers. That's the whole plot twist that I've just ruined for everybody. But yeah, there's this scene in the diner. Corey sits down with the girl, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to burn it all down." And she's kind of like, "I want to leave. I want to get out of this place. There's nothing here for me anymore." And he's like, "Oh, let's kill everybody." And yes, it insinuates that maybe that's going to happen. It's going to be like a natural born killers until the deputy dog guy comes over, the cop, and this is what he says. He literally interrupts this interesting part of the movie to say this.
Pretty cool.
Hopefully people can hear this.
Hey, you said you were gonna call. You were gonna call, but you didn't call.
No, I owe you a call.
Did I do something wrong?
I'm with someone.
Oh. Oops, sorry for that. Sorry for the intrusion. Well, it's Joe Grillo's. Hey, Joe. Hey.
Joe Grillo.
Joe Grillo's birthday today.
Joe's Grillo's birthday.
Ross, he made a sponge cake.
Sponge cake.
It's Joe Grillo's birthday, and I made a sponge cake. I don't care. I said that last night. I posted it in the audio only that I posted to this YouTube page. I can't get over that's a line in this movie.
That has to be Danny McBride trolling again.
Just like some of his stuff is just in there. Yeah. And so as the movie progresses, Corey, we meet Michael Myers. Giant spoiler alerts for anybody. What happens is Corey gets thrown off the bridge by these dastardly marching band children.
Evil marching band.
I was in the marching band. Right? Yeah, one of them has no eyebrows. He's like the snare drummer, and he knocks and
he's the drummer. He's the drummer because he always has his sticks twirling in every scene. Because he never knows when he's going to need those Vic Firth drumsticks to knock a knife out of somebody's hand, which is literally what he does in this movie. And as somebody that played guitar in bands in high school, that is the shittiest stick twirler I've ever seen. There's like no conviction behind it. It's kind of like the kid just tried to learn this 5 minutes before he had to get on camera.
And he's got no
real confidence. He's got a mullet.
He's got a mullet, and it kind of looks like the United Colors of Benetton in the diversity of this badass group. And then the head kid sounds like he's from Brooklyn for some reason. There's a lot of misplaced Bronx and Brooklyn accents from like 1963 shoved into this movie. But so the marching band throws Corey off a bridge, but before they throw him off, they have another, which I think will be a classic line.
What is your problem with this kid?
This guy fucked up the LeBaron.
Yeah.
This guy fucked up the LeBaron because this marching band, they get around town in a Chrysler LeBaron convertible. Not even a red one. It's like a mauve color or something like that, off-white.
I had my mom's Buick Regal.
Right. Yeah. I knew a couple of LeBaron owners back in the day. It's another thing. What year was this movie taking place? That was confusing too. So after Corey gets thrown off the bridge, he's miraculously relatively unhurt, non-life-threatening injuries.
Just gets up.
He just gets up and I'm sorry. He's dragged yes. into like a drainage tunnel.
Yeah. And not killed instantly.
Right. What do you mean when he jumps off?
No. After he gets dragged into the tunnel, he then wakes up in the tunnel by himself.
And we learn that Michael Myers is a hermit living under a bridge in this drainage tunnel for I guess the last couple of years.
I've been wondering, like, what do you think he's been eating?
Right.
Rats?
I don't know. And and then there's a hobo living under the bridge who kind of knows he's there, but doesn't know he's there. Has never thought to wander in or anything like that. And apparently Michael is cool with the elderly. I mean, he never bothered the guy, I guess.
Well, it's important to have a good relationship with your neighbors.
And as Brian Spears, the co-host usually of this podcast, pointed out, not only is he living in this underground tunnel, he still insists on wearing his mask. Even though no one knows he's there, you think that would be uncomfortable.
And the overalls.
He's totally. So I don't know what happens next, but the big plot twist and spoiler alert, you bastards, if you haven't seen it, although I don't think we have anybody watching, but he grabs Corey, starts to choke him, and there's this moment
where he sees into his eyes.
They literally evil. They look into their eyes, but what is happening there? Because wasn't there a Friday the 13th movie like after Jason went to Manhattan where like Jason's evil would go from person to person?
The sheriff eats his heart to get the power of Jason, and then I think it goes from him to somebody. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But
do you remember what number that is?
I want to say it's 7 or 8.
I probably should have looked that up. I've had 48 hours to do that, and I still haven't because I'm lazy.
That, like right now, I can't remember.
I keep assuming that somebody I'll have on this podcast will know that, but nobody does. But what's your theory there? Was it, because we were debating this last night, was it like they identify with the evilness embedded in each other, or was it supernatural, or what?
I think it might have been a little bit from column A and column B. It was the darkness in the kid reaching out and calling out to the darkness in Michael Myers, and Michael Myers transferred more of his evil spirit into the kid. Maybe.
I can't believe this movie got made in this is a movie that's been a major movie, like, you know, a big release.
And then from that moment on, he's bad. The kid's going bad.
And we know he's bad because they keep telling us he's got dead eyes, essentially. But it's like, is he really pulling it off? He looks the same as he did.
He looked the same exact guy.
So he leaves the tunnel, if I'm remembering this correctly, and then this hobo that's been sort of kicking around as a cliche plot device just runs up to him like the dude in Friday the 13th telling the kids, stay away out of the woods. And you know, he gets stabbed, right? The kid, Corey, stabs this old man hobo.
With the old man hobo's knife.
Right. Yeah, why the hobo suddenly snapped. I didn't get that either. And then immediately, pretty much, and again, this is all just from memory, Corey goes back to now his girlfriend, the Laurie Strode's granddaughter, essentially. They've fallen in love. They're completely...
And the first words he says to her are, I killed somebody.
Right. Yeah, he tells her right up. He's like, yeah, I just killed somebody back there. And her reaction is just kind of like, it's as if he said like, oh, I accidentally wet my pants last night. Sorry about that. Like, there's
I think she thinks he's talking about the kid. She's like, yes, I know you killed somebody.
Oh, I missed that.
Which is why then they're back in the house. Somehow they're able to get into the house.
Okay, I completely missed that because I was under the impression he just told her he killed somebody, and then she misses all the signs that
at least that's
the
what
kid's a screw up. You're probably right because now you're saying that you're probably right. But and then so the kid starts he's essentially becoming the new Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And he starts to off all these annoying characters that are just basically introduced in the plot. And this is the first Halloween movie where I've really rooted for characters to. I'm like, will you kill this doctor already? Will you kill this annoying nurse already? And that was bizarre too. So
maybe that's part of like what they were trying to see. Like, see, there's a little bit of evil in you too, because you're cheering for these characters to have their downfall.
Maybe
I'm looking too much into it. But
because
I thought about that.
John from The Pint, a pop culture podcast, was wondering, like, is there a message in this movie? Is this a message movie? He was throwing out there, is it about like bullying, anti-bullying? But maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's trying to get America, it's showing, it's holding a mirror up to our violent nature or some shit like that. I don't know, because it's batshit crazy.
It seems to be a running theme, because whenever like you see lawyers from the street, people are coming up to saying, it's your fault. You drew this in.
I was kind of bummed. All right, maybe this is like, I don't mean to be cold-hearted, but yeah, one of the past victims of Michael Myers is rolled up to Laurie as she's leaving a grocery store, and it's like it's the black woman from the last Halloween.
Yeah.
She was married to that famous, I wanted the comedian to be the one in the Boston comedian, that big name whose name escapes you right now, but the one that Joe Rogan and all those guys all worship for being Lenny Clark. Lenny Clark, that's his name. I wanted Lenny Clark to have lived, and he was
going to rescue me, I think.
Right, yeah, he's the best. But yeah, the movie, it stops every 5 minutes to remind Laurie Strode that this is all her fault somehow, and I don't even get the logic behind it totally.
I don't get the logic behind that at all.
And there's all this sort of weird psychobabble stuff about dealing with trauma and your past and like the essence of evil, I guess, in some way. It's a little pretentious. It employs this plot device where Laurie's writing her memoir, of course. And it's like, so she's just speaking her thoughts. You know what I mean? It's not really a performance. They're just saying, here's how Laurie feels, audience. And, and it goes on and on and on.
They tried to be weirdly poignant in those parts.
With the way it treats her, the way it treats the relationship.
Even the ending, even that last shot. It's like, why are we being poignant now?
And one of the things that happens is that somehow Laurie, because the kid, Corey, shows up at Jamie Lee Curtis's house,
she can recognize evil.
And he stands, I guess it's the bush. Is the bush actually the hero of the movie?
It's the same shot from the original movie.
Right, that iconic John Carpenter shot of the shape standing next to...
Yeah.
And so she recognizes that, and then she goes downstairs. And then there's really like a cheesy thing. You know what? I even have a... This is just... Are you hearing these all? I wonder if I'm trying.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing everything.
Okay.
I'm hearing everything.
So she runs downstairs to confront what she has recognized as evil based on her experience in 1978. And then like kind of this happens. This was more a visual thing, but I'll play it anyway.
But the through the years montage?
Well, this is just...
I didn't mean to scare you.
This is just where she's gone downstairs and she's looking where he was at the bush, but he's disappeared. And then he literally just jumps out behind her.
And then we get the jump scare.
Yeah. It's unintentionally hilarious.
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
I'm
waiting for Allison.
I wait for Allison. So then that builds this conflict. Corey? I didn't realize I recorded this much. So I don't know. Anyway, the broad shows up. Yeah. And so then Jamie Lee Curtis, her motivation is now to sort of break up this budding relationship.
To save her granddaughter.
Because she has recognized evil in this kid. The kid also has a really overprotective mother who sounds like she's from like Canarsie or something like that, even though it's Haddonfield, Illinois. That was all ridiculous.
And then we get the husband of the kid, and he's only in one scene. Just to like, yeah, you're right. He's totally evil. I totally felt it too. And then you never see him again.
Oh, okay. Matt's talking about the father of the child who dies in the opening scene, who died by accident because of this Corey kicking a door open. Yeah. And then there's that weird scene where Corey goes into a bar where he first is like meeting Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter, and he runs into the mother of the kid he accidentally killed, and that was just bad. looks over and she's all like drunk and
she's all drunk in the same costume too.
I didn't picture where's. So that's oh my God, that was. I don't know why do they they did a lot of that in Halloween Kills. It's just like, why do they stuff so many characters? Why do they feel the need to stuff that many characters into this movie?
What was the name of the town in Back to the Future?
I have no idea.
I forget what it's like on the tip of my tongue, but like the whole universe seems to weirdly go through like this town is like its own universe. It has its own radio station.
Operating 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day only
with one employee. With one employee.
And only for the town.
He just talks about the worst mass murder in the town and the nation's history 24 hours a day on a loop.
Because like whenever you hear those sound bites from the DJ, he's never talking about, hey, the county or hey, like half the state. It's always Haddonfield coming to you live.
That one place, it's like a metropolis. Even the layout of everything, because it starts off, we're in Haddonfield, and there's that shot, and it's shadowing, where the kid looks up and it's like, what they live in like the Home Alone house. Like somehow that massive house is there. But then for some reason, Jamie Lee Curtis has moved into like her house is beautiful, but the house next door to her is all boarded up. It was just, it's all over the place. Like, and then it has
I didn't even notice that it was boarded up.
It was, I don't get what's going on. I want like an economic report on the demographics of this town and what's going on there. What's the median income in this place? I've never seen a place like it with such diversity of wealth and what have you, but it all exists in here. Oh, and then by the way, this whole time, Michael Myers
is living in the sewer.
The reason everyone wants to see the movie and paid whatever $20 to see this is just hanging out in the sewer literally the whole time. What do you think about the kid? It looked like he was going to become some type of scarecrow killer, but
you see it once. Like when he kills the doctor's assistant in the doctor's house. And you think, okay,
I'm choking to death. Sorry.
Okay, we're gonna pass the torch onto like some new thing. This is unexpected, but okay, I'm gonna go with it. And then no, we go right back to Michael Myers, and then that's the last you ever see of the mask again.
It's just thrown away. There's so many of that. There's so many plots, like little plot points. You think they're gonna go one way, and they're just out there and they're gone.
And they're gone.
How about you had a tweet I saw saying like, oh my God, I'm like 45 or 50 minutes into this. I felt the same way. It was like that first hour, it was really tough to get through.
I stopped to go to the bathroom and I paused it and then I looked at the timer and it felt like, man, I must have been watching this for at least an hour and 25 minutes. Like, oh man, I'm only an hour and 3 minutes in. And you look at what's remaining and it's almost a whole other hour. It's just so unnecessary. If it had just been about Michael Myers.
The other thing we were saying, I felt like this was on the level of all those crappy sequels that like came out when we were in high school. You know what I mean? Like it was, it's totally interchangeable with all that crap, even though you have so much talent, especially compared to like, Danielle Harris or whoever, right. I mean, there's like real actors here. You know what I mean? I don't mean to badmouth Danielle Harris.
Let's not besmirch the name of Danielle Harris.
But I only thought that because there was this, it wasn't Dabblers Anonymous. I spent so much time in Dabblers Anonymous on Reddit. I really am developing a problem. But it was either on Facebook or Reddit. It was all the Halloween cast, but like Danielle Harris was there. I think it was the premiere for Halloween Ends. And somebody cropped it, and so it's Danielle Harris leaning into Jamie Lee Curtis. And Jamie Lee Curtis, because it's just the two of them, they cut everybody else. Jamie Lee Curtis just has this awkward look.
Like, who are you?
So it's like the caption was like, when mom forgets that one daughter, it was just sort of it was an insult to Danielle Harris, and I felt bad. But my point being, like that, her movies didn't have like the weight of but
that's giant. But it's funny you should mention that because like when he put on the scarecrow mask, I thought we were going to get like another Danielle Harris in the clown suit type of thing. Like, okay, this is like a new addition to the lore of or the canon of Halloween or whatever, and now it's we're gonna have a whole bunch of maybe a couple more sequels with the scarecrow killer guy with Michael, but we're nowhere.
Nope. They're just like, I forget that, which I think fans would have. I mean, and I was saying this again, I'm repeating myself, but I think we all can acknowledge that this franchise ran out of gas a while ago.
Yeah.
But we're like, all right, you know, with the talent behind this and Blumhouse, and this is like a tentpole movie. It's weirdly become a tentpole movie in 2022 somehow. So everyone's going to see it when we all hope for the best. It's like the same thing with a Rob Zombie or a Kevin Smith film, even though we know they're going to be bad, but we see them anyway. My point being, like, we would have accepted the wackiness of having a new Michael Myers with a new, you know, I think people would have been accepting had they done that, but they just decided to pull all their punches, introduce the idea, and not follow through. It's freaking amazing.
It's only going to be another 5 years before they reboot it anyway. So
they'll do it. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right. They'll just do it again and again. But we should talk about, all right, so eventually you get Corey and Jamie Lee Curtis and her granddaughter and Michael Myers all meet up in a house. Well, Michael Myers comes a little later. And it's really bizarre too. Like, it's just like the pacing is weird.
The pacing's way weird.
I don't even realize like what the central conflict is between Laurie Strode and Corey and the granddaughter. Is he coming there to kill them all? Like, I wasn't 100% sure. I'm not that smart, but I had trouble even following the logic of what was happening.
Obviously at the end, he was trying to kill Laurie, but we take way too long getting to that point for it to even possibly make any sense. They seriously could have cut down probably 20 minutes of this movie, and it probably would have been a far more interesting watch.
And then the kid Corey, I mean, I don't know how spoiler whatever that word is, we want to be, but I mean, he's kind of dispatched sort of unceremoniously. It's just kind of like he does the die twice thing, but it's not like he really comes back to life. And I guess spoiler alert, Michael Myers is actually the one that ends up killing him, but it's not like in a King Kong versus Godzilla way. The guy's already been stabbed.
He's already dead. Right. It's so anticlimactic.
Yeah, what is the point of that?
Yeah.
And I don't even. So why did Michael Myers kill him? What did that?
Well, because he stole his mask. He beat him up and stole his mask. That's why.
Oh God! And we're leaving out one of the most bizarre images I've ever seen. I mentioned the cop, Joe Grillo's best friend, deputy, whatever his name was. He gets lured into the lair of Michael Myers, the underground tunnel, by Corey. Corey brings his cop, the rival for his girl. Although he's not a rival in any way, you know, he looks like me. He's literally a 48-year-old dude. And so they kill the sponge cake guy. He's very good at making sponge cake. They kill him together, and Michael Myers does a dance or has an orgasm.
No. I think what it is that he's been weakened because he hasn't killed in a long time. So like every time he's driving the knife through the guy, he's getting more of his evil strength back. It's kind of like Hulk Hogan. It's exactly like Hulk Hogan. He's hulking up.
It was would Hogan do the ear, or was that The Rock? Would Hogan do the?
Hogan did the ear.
So it's like when you drop the arm, and it's like what?
Yeah.
Or whatever. He's still there. I didn't even think of that. It's a bizarre scene. I immediately went to sexual because I've been watching the Dahmer documentary on Netflix, and I'm like, wait, what? Why are they? This is like psychosexual. What the hell is going on in this? Yeah. But I guess that makes more sense.
Speaking of pro wrestling, I did think of this other thing that makes no sense because it makes Michael Myers a lesser villain. In wrestling, there's a thing called putting the other guy over, where you're going to do what's called the job, where it's your job to lose and make the other guy look as good as he's supposed to look.
So when you get hit, you get
hit, and like you lose spectacularly. How are we supposed to like see Michael Myers as like the ultimate personification of evil if this kid can just come into his lair, slap him around, and steal his mask?
Yeah,
you're not putting your main character over.
It's so strange, and like I get that they've already introduced the concept in the past new movies that Michael Myers is now old. We get that,
right?
But yeah, to have him just feeble and
but then it doesn't make sense because then there's the other part where you go back to the doctor's house where he actually lifts the girl up with one hand and stabs her through the chest into the wall, and she's just hanging there.
Yeah, it doesn't
like he has the strength to do that.
It makes
where did that come from?
Sense.
But it's from him hulking up from before, I guess.
And then there's the final conflict between Laurie's. Eventually, it comes down to, of course, Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers,
which I also thought was very anticlimactic.
Right? Wow. Yeah,
He
and people
throws her around the kitchen a couple of times, and then
Which-
she pulls out a knife and stabs him.
which is
Spoiler alert. Sorry.
when he throws her around the kitchen. I also thought that was there was just something funny of watching, you know, a geriatric Jamie Lee Curtis get her head slammed. Seemed like slapstick to me. I don't know. Is there
I thought he was
something
going
wrong
to
with
rub
me?
soap into her eyes.
It was just like, yeah, it becomes kind of a wrestling match. You know, like I thought she was going to be like cutting herself, and the whole thing has a wrestling vibe to it. And then there's a weird thing for, like, you know, Michael Myers. He's a little tricky in this. Like earlier in the film, there's there's an effective scene in the junkyard where the marching band finally gets killed.
Yeah.
And he decides to take a moment to torch someone.
Yeah.
Like with a literal torch, but he has to go turn
Corey.
it on.
Well, that's Corey. That's not Michael Myers. That's Corey torching him.
Okay.
Because we already established that he knows how to use a blowtorch earlier on. Plus, like if you see the hands in that shot, it's definitely Corey. It's not Michael Myers.
Okay, gotcha. My mistake there. But I thought it was bizarre and I guess sort of comedic where he's got all this action happen. He's taking on all these people, but he takes the time and there's a cutaway to get this to, like, wouldn't he just kill? I mean, like, just kill the person to do this, you know, this gag.
Well, he's so bad, you know, he wants to torture him.
He's got to go set up his
Yeah.
tank and follow the OSHA rules to kill her properly. But anyway, so I messed that up. But my point being, a similar thing happens in the final confrontation, again, spoiler alert, between Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, where he takes her hand instead of just like killing her. He takes the time to get her to turn on a garbage disposal.
Yeah.
And then he takes her hand and to get it into the garbage disposal. And I think it sounded like he got it in there.
He got probably like the tip of her finger a little bit, just like a little nip. And then she yanked it right out.
And she was okay. Yeah,
she's totally fine. Yeah.
However old Jamie Lee Curtis is at this point, she was able to
nails, maybe like a little layer of skin on the fingertip.
She's got good bone density, I guess, and was able to throw him right on the table and then do this sort of
maybe
prolonged.
She plays guitar. She's got calluses on the tips of her fingers.
Putting her hand in the garbage disposal seemed to give her more strength. Maybe they were saying that too. Maybe that was a whole other thing. Jamie Lee Curtis' character also has the evil inside her because we all have it. Because it doesn't go for, you know, there's nobody's born evil. It just takes different shapes.
Right.
But yeah, and again, yeah, the final climax isn't really a climax. The movie, it just peters out. It peters out. Michael Myers is dead. There's a lot of fake blood on the floor. And then there has to be.
And then the whole town comes together in a healing moment.
In the most ridiculous scene I think I've ever seen in a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know, like where
it's up there.
So Jamie Lee Curtis and her granddaughter
and the sheriff
with the guy who's been in a couple who was flirting with her randomly in the grocery store. They take his body and
strap it to the car.
They strap him and he doesn't have his mask on from what I could tell.
Yeah. No.
So my point is they take this old man, they put him on the hood of the car or the top of the roof of the car, and they drive him around town to show everybody, okay, look, this evil
and start a caravan.
Right, they start a caravan. Everyone's celebrating the massacre
to the junkyard
of this senior citizen, so they can come together and all get over and cope with their trauma. But my point being, how do they know it's Michael Myers? It just looks like nobody's seen him without his mask. It's just like They all somehow the streets are lined. It was like the OJ thing. Like, was it on the news? They all just they killed the DJ, right? The 24-hour news source is gone.
Like in the real world, like the next day there'd be some conspiracy theory website started saying that was not Michael Myers. That is fake news.
Yeah, where's his mask?
Those were crisis actors.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's how they're going to do the new one. Maybe that they're going to come back and be like, "Oh no, that was Anthony Michael Hall. Actually, it wasn't Michael Myers." But yeah, it's laughably bad. And I'm sorry if you watch that scene and you don't think that's ridiculous. I don't get it. I'm just because I've heard there are some good reviews coming out. But,
I put out a tweet last night because last night I chose to watch the new Dario Argento movie on Twitter instead of this because I love trashy Italian horror. I am a sucker for trashy Italian horror. And there's always that sort of artistic mystique of Dario Argento, even though he's been so wrong for probably the last 20 years.
It's like 20, 25, maybe 30 years.
We're going on like a good 20, 25 years of not good Dario Argento films. But I gotta say, like, if like it delivered on what you would expect from a Dario Argento film. He did not like swerve off the formula. In fact, it was kind of a very much a return to form. Like, is it particularly good? No, not really. Are there ridiculous moments? Absolutely, but it still falls within what you would expect a Dario Argento film to be. And I still stand by my statement from last night that I'm still like it's still the artsy better choice than watching Halloween Ends.
And yeah, if you take that criteria,
sorry,
there,
I used air quotes there, like Stuttering John.
Did you use them correctly?
Probably not, but that's why
Stuttering John is just
I've been
just
so
always
self-conscious about that since I started watching it.
Yeah, I love
Anyway,
the guy.
sorry.
He doesn't know the concept of quotes. That, like,
No.
you know, he
So
just says,
what if the money goes to me and not an actual charity?
"Oh, that's the best." And just the way that kind of all went away too. How like Stuttering John just doesn't bring that up. I guess today I saw on Twitter he got rid of all his old videos. Like he used to have. He must be like just waking up because, you know, people get so much content from his own stuff. And he had like hundreds of songs. I mean, hundreds of videos, and now there's just like 7 on his page apparently.
I bet you his lawyer told him, like, listen, if you want to, please stop wasting your money on these lawsuits. And the best way for you to do that is to not give people the opportunity to show your clips.
Limit your content.
Limit your content.
Somebody must have advised them. Yeah, just stop putting so much out there and don't leave it out there forever. Yeah. But what I was going to say, and I'm starting to choke.
Yeah, sorry that I got us off the topic.
No, dude, I can talk about Stuttering John all day and all night. I mean, like, I'm too wrapped up in it. But if you take the criteria, you said, okay, it's an Dario Argento film. You have certain expectations going into it, and it just has to serve those expectations at this point because you're a fan and you just want to experience Dario Argento.
And it definitely was a return to form, for better or worse, whatever you think of Dario Argento. It was a Dario Argento film,
which is one of the many faults of Halloween Ends. You go in with a certain expectation.
That's what I was trying to get to.
We can respect the fact they tried something different, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work,
and it's not a Halloween film.
It just doesn't feel, you don't get what you expect. It's the most unsatisfying Halloween movie. Even if you Season of the Witch as a whole, I don't know. I have to watch it again, but
I like it, but I know it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Don't like it.
I'm so stubborn. Silly. I just remember seeing it for the first time and not knowing it wasn't going to be and I've just never forgiven it. Like, it was, like, I'll never forget the New York Mets for getting rid of like Dwight Gooden and all the cocaine. I'll just never. It hurt me as a child. So, but anyway, so I guess that's Halloween Ends. I don't know what else we can say about it because now I'm just running out of things to say.
Yeah, I think. And
the Stuttering John stuff. Yeah, I'm all. God bless you, Stuttering John. See one too many. All right. So what's up next for Mondo Creepy now? You're kind of, you're basking in the fact that you're now on a great Roku channel with I didn't really realize there's a whole other world of all these horror hosts out there and Mr. Lobo now. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff.
Like I've told you before, there's a whole subculture of horror hosts out there. They all know each other, and it's a whole thing. And I don't want to say anything because I might upset somebody, or somebody might mistake something I said the wrong way, and then and I try to stay out of that drama.
Oh, it gets a
lot sometimes.
See,
sometimes.
that's what I
stay out of it. I stay out of it.
That's wise. Yeah, I run my mouth.
I told Jennifer to stay out of it.
One of the great things about the Stuttering John reaction world is that it's people of all political stripes. You know what I mean? Like, somebody will say something political, and it's like, we're here for Stuttering John, man. It doesn't even matter. Even though Stuttering John's a political show, but he's so not a political show because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
It all stems from the fact that, like, people feel bad for Stuttering John, and then they'll try and reach out to him to be an ally, and he just burns that bridge. That bridge, and the next thing you know, like for instance, Radio Gunk, which for some reason, God help me, like I watch,
Monique.
I listen to it.
Sure.
Monique. Like, at first I'm like, wow, this is weird. This is a whole show where they do nothing but hate on the Stern show. But then I listen, I'm like, you know what? I completely agree with everything they're saying.
They're such experts. They're like encyclopedias of Howard Stern stuff.
Fascinating. Like, they'll bring up stuff that happened 25 years ago and like you'll remember, oh yeah, that did happen exactly then. It's crazy.
It's like Mark's friggin', but with commentary. I
Yeah,
love the fact that one of the sea changes in the whole Stuttering John stuff is
well,
when
that's what I'm saying. It's now
Monique, you aligned
That's what I was
yourself with
getting to.
Carl. Yeah.
She originally reached out to John, like in a moment of like sort of sympathy and to be like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, talk to me. I'm not going to judge you. And he burned that bridge. And now she's on, who are these podcasts and things like that.
Yeah, it is at this point, I mean, even I got blocked by him on Twitter and I never thought, I mean, who am I? Why would you bother blocking me? I always thought, I wasn't like.
You had Shuli on your show, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay. But I guess, yeah, maybe he saw it. But even in that interview, I made it a point to try to get.
He definitely saw it because it probably popped up in his alerts because you put his name in the headline of that episode.
Oh yeah, he is great for page views. I mean, I love it. I feel like I'm an actual YouTuber now because I get 100 views as opposed to 9, all because of Stuttering John. But I tried to get, in that interview, Shuli said something nice about him because I do think, as ridiculous as he is, and he's his own worst enemy, and I mean, and there's so many talented people that are way more talented than me.
Shuli was very fair because I listened to that and I heard what he said. And
yeah, he said something
very fair about it.
He was like, the guy has a legacy on the Howard Stern show. He definitely does.
And he's not trying to do it to be malicious, except you made it personal.
Yeah. So, but even with that, like Stuttering John is just so, I don't know, he's so pigheaded. I've just never seen anything like it. But anyway, that's Stuttering John. All right, Matt from Mondo Creepy. I guess that's it. It's 12:23 in the AM.
It is.
I think we had 2 viewers. That's
right.
pretty good. I don't know how to do the live chat actually. If people were asking questions or making fun of us, I guess it would show up here. Did I miss anything?
It should show up on YouTube, shouldn't it? I mean, I've never done a live stream, so I mean, I've done the watch parties for the show where everybody chats at the same time.
I got it on my phone. Yeah, no, I don't think we missed anything. It says 1 like and 1 viewer. Damn you, Stuttering. You know what? I didn't put Stuttering John on the title. That was stupid of me. Damn it. All right, let's end it with this.
What is your problem with this kid?
This guy fucked up the LeBaron.
Hell yeah.
This guy fucked up the LeBaron. All right, Matt, thank you so much for doing this, dude.
Thank you very much for having me.
Somehow I got to stop it now. All right.